Welcome into episode 157 About the Cards podcast, live tonight on YouTube. With me as host, as always here, good Lord, Stefan Loeffler at Junk Wax Twins.
Oh, hi.
Ben Wilson at Our Trading Cards. I'm Tim Shepler at Big Shep 79. We are a podcast by collectors for collectors, hoping to bring you a smart and insightful podcast discussing trading card collecting. We're live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific.
10 Central.
On YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitch. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram About the Cards. We're available as a podcast everywhere you can find one. Check out the website aboutthecards.wordpress.com. Guys, take a week off and you blow the intro to season 4. Welcome in season 4. This is the 4th year we're starting this show. It's amazing. How are you guys doing tonight? I missed you last week.
You did.
Yeah, I messed everything up. I missed you guys last week. Thanks for big shout out to Andrew from Bayside filling in like legitimately 20 minutes before the show.
It's a nice
I think I had a little touch of food poisoning. I was just talking to my wife. We were getting ready for the show, and then all of a sudden, I wasn't doing too good. So I had to call it late. I was going to try to muscle through, but yeah, I didn't think anybody needed to see that. So I did catch part of the show. Didn't get to see it all, but I hope you guys had fun ending season 3, the finale.
Yeah, no, it was one of those things, man. Just thinking back, reminiscing about, hey, let's do a podcast. We should get a third guy, though. I got a guy. His name's Steph. He knows everything. And we'll do this for a couple of weeks, and we'll have some fun for a month, and we'll get away from the wives. And 3 years later, I mean, it's just tremendous. And man, we can't thank everybody out there enough for our continued support and encouragement. And, Tim and I got to see each other over the weekend. And
we came over to the studio and hung out for a minute. Made a trade.
Let our boys know that, 20 years from now, that they're going to be taking over the podcast. So they need to start working on getting along.
Yeah. And I got a whole big old box of top loaders for my sales business, my eBay store, and the card show I'm coming up on the 17th. So it was a good trade.
It was.
Some Ace cards that would have just normally been in the trash.
Yeah. My 3-year-old didn't want to leave. Jonathan and Rob, they were hanging out. And John's like, took his shoes off, sat down with Robbie in the living room next to B, and he's like, staying. Like, it's time to go, kid. And he's like, nah. It's like, no. I'm not going anywhere. It's kind of like us, right? On Wednesday nights, 2-hour mark, we're like, no, we still got 2 hours left in us, but Uncle Rich will be mad if we don't end it here. It's like,
yeah. Yep. There we go. Hey, we should do a podcast. I have a mic. Won't travel.
Look at Steph. See, I was telling somebody about Steph the other day. I said, when I first met Steph on Twitter, that guy's bookmark, no matter what you said, he had a bookmark or a YouTube video that was exactly just like where he just pulls crap out of his hat. It's like, oh, hey, here's a card. And he's like, oh, I got one sitting here on the desk. That's how I met him. I'm like, your bookmark has to be continued on like 3 different screens. And,
I have no stubs on my desk, guys. I'm sorry. However, I do have two quick promos, thank yous to hand out. One, I got 2 very cool custom cards from Vosbrink. Nelson Cruz in the vein of Kirby Steadies. And from Chris Anderson. Someone apparently sent in this as a toss-in. And hey, if you guys don't want beefcake, I'll take beefcake.
Yeah, he sent me a Rashawn Dixon auto green parallel from like 2012 or 2013 Bowman Platinum. As a filler, it's like, I get base. I don't agree with using base as filler. But this dude, I mean, he got autos and relics as filler. Like, come on, are people that desperate to get rid of stuff?
Well, I got a second year Bowman Chrome, a 2004 Bowman Chrome, Aaron Judge as a filler card
2004?
Or 2014, sorry.
How long has that guy been around?
As a filler today, amongst some other good things. Hey, I want to give a quick shout out to Micah Cartwright. Sport Lots store Astros 07. I bought an 86 insert from the Series 2 Dane Dunning for 25 cents, and postage was 63 cents or whatever. So, it was like 88 cents for the card. And I got the card from him, and I was going to talk about this last week, but note, I know the amount is minimal, but I can't let you pay for this card. The amount of enjoyment Steph and yourself give me on a weekly basis is priceless. Thank you guys for everything you do for the hobby. Micah, and it was $1 inside, so he gave me a refund plus I made like 12 cents. He also said number 1, nacho cheese Doritos, number 2, taco Doritos, number 3, the rest. Pretty good with that list.
I don't agree with number 2, but as long as number 1 is nacho cheese,
yeah.
Hey, 2, 3, 4, 5, they can all.
But hey, real quick, also too some nice pickups that came in today. A couple Drew Brees Topps rookies, a Peyton Manning Topps rookie. Nice. I mean, they weren't inexpensive, but they weren't expensive. Maybe I spent maybe a little over what I spent on a box of Stadium Club and a half or so. Oh, and by the way, we're gonna talk about Stadium Club later. I know it came out, but boy howdy, I did well in 5 boxes.
Night, Rich.
Real well.
Yeah. Good night. Good night to Uncle Rich's dog, Tater Tot.
Yeah. Well, let's get into it. What's up?
No, before we do, can I just throw a quick shout out to Mark Hoyle? Derek Jeter X dropped, and there was a seller that was doing pre-sales, and for some reason on eBay, he has me blocked probably because of a bad experience where I probably left negative feedback for him being a knucklehead. But I was talking to Mark on Twitter a couple weeks back, and he's like, yeah, there's a Henderson. And I'm like, yeah, there's only one on eBay right now. And I've had a bad experience with that particular seller. And Mark's like, I got you. So he picked up the Henderson and sent it my way. So thank you so much. And it's kind of fun to get around sellers once in a while. And really appreciate him for the generosity.
Hey, speaking of which, I became a top-rated seller on eBay this week. Yeah, so I was pretty excited about that. I guess it's like discounts or whatever, but head down, do what's right. So I had a couple card guys reach out. Hey, I didn't get my cards, and so I just sent refunds. And then a day or two later, they showed up, but they were like 2 weeks late. I don't know what took so long, but a couple bucks here and there. It's not a bit. It's the cost of doing business, right? And so.
My dad and I were talking about Denny's. We went to Denny's for dinner, which we usually do on Wednesday nights because it's just quick and easy. And our waiter Noah, he's listened to the show, does not collect baseball cards, but mentioned that we do the show and he's listened in before. But exceptional customer service, and it literally costs nothing to do good customer service. Customer service. And exceptional customer service costs you nothing, and you should strive to be as good as you possibly could be, and that goes up front or on the back end if there's an issue. It's like, just, hey, do a good job, communicate. That's really all. Sales 101, 102, 103 all comes down to communication.
Yep, up front. We'll hop into last week's releases. The week that was last week's releases. Topps Living League 172 week card 429 Lance Lynn, pitcher of the Chicago White Sox, sold a little over 75 or 1,700, and then card 426 Dylan Carlson, rookie outfielder of the St. Louis Cardinals, 5 shy of 3,000. So big week for Dylan Carlson, former Elk Grove Thundering Herd star here in Sacramento area. So pretty awesome. We also had 21 Bowman Sapphire. 21 Panini Select Baseball and 21 Topps Stadium Club Baseball dropped. So Steph pulls up the pictures. The Lance Lynn just looking like a nice little mug shot. Nice look there. And then Mr. Dylan Carlson. Nice. These cards still wow me every day. I still love looking at them, and I was really excited to see today's releases as well. So it still has me interested.
So since you weren't here last week, this naturally has to count for one of Ben's cards, right?
Yeah, because it says Jimmy. But was he an A that year?
I believe so.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. If we tried to collect everything that mentioned our teams, I mean, go insane enough just collecting the picture on the front, let alone the picture on the back. Stop it.
Be sick.
Literally, this is coming from this is literally coming from the clown who did not get the Topps Living Kirby Puckett in a 7 day window.
Hmm?
Everything that you've said before and after is invalidated.
So two things.
Did you even buy the Kirilov?
No. There are so many online releases. I'm kind of burnt out on them, but they'll be around. There's plenty printed.
You're burnt out on that, but it's okay. Like 1989 Upper Deck INC with the period or without the period, you better have both.
Far more available.
Doesn't matter. You either have to collect everything or nothing. Every time you tell me I have to add, you better add the signature series gold, platinum, silver, green variations.
Yeah.
No.
Well, so Stadium Club came out last week, right? And I ended up getting 5 boxes from 2 different cases. And I hit 2 autos out of 10. So the rainbow foil autographs. Now, they weren't big names. One was Jeffers, the catcher for the Twins. The other was Zach Birdie. I did hit a gold minted of Brian Hayes.
Nice.
Which I have right here. It's a pretty sharp looking card. These gold minted are awesome. Hit an Alec Baum at a 10 out of 50 auto, red foil. And so the gold minted are 1 in every case. They're 1 in every, And then I got hit a photographer's proof of Bryce Harper, and I looked those up, and those are 1 in every 2 cases.
Nice.
So not too bad. And I picked up the boxes, $100 a piece.
You know what they should be.
Yeah, and I was so excited to open it. I finished my stuff via Sport Lots today, and the photography is awesome. I have a ton of dupes if people are looking for them. Some guy bought the first batch of dupes I had for my first 3 boxes. He bought off of me in one big lot. So, no,
Do you have a Twins team?
I don't have a Twins team set, but I have twins. I have some extra twins. Ooh, that's not a good look. My face like blurred there. No, it was a fun rip. It was a good time, and they had the big box toppers, which I always like. I just wish they'd been wrapped, instead of just sitting on the top of the box. But what are you gonna do? Let's hop into it. Hot off the presses this week's release. Topps Living Week 173. Card 427, Kevin Gausman, pitcher, San Francisco Giants. And card 428, Trevor Rogers, rookie pitcher, the Miami Marlins. This was an easy double pickup for me this week, so I just bought the set.
Needing
to
be traded to the Twins.
Who? Gausman?
Miami. Trevor Rogers.
Oh, why is that?
Because his twin brother, Taylor Rogers, plays for us.
So why not trade Taylor to Miami?
Yeah.
Because if there's any team that needs to have a pair of twins on them, it's not Miami.
I would say that you already have the team name. You don't need players.
But it would be an interesting factoid in the annals of baseball history.
I was actually reading
there's never been a player until the other day that have his last name end in an X. Did you guys see that? So Chip Carey in the Cardinals is doing the Braves Reds game, and some guy named Hendricks ends in an X pitches for the Reds. And he makes his major league debut, and he goes, "This is the first player in Major League history to play in an MLB game where his last name ended in an X." It took him 5 innings to figure out Greg Maddux, Gavin Lux. There's like hundreds of people. He meant starts with an X, not ends with an X. He had some bad information, and so everybody was just rolling Chip Carey about it. I just laughed. I thought it was hilarious because, dude, right off the bat, I was like, Greg Maddux was a Brave for how long?
Well, and Jimmy Fox, literally his nickname, Double X. And it's not like Jimmy Fox was a slouch. I mean, but I get it. Sometimes people have mistakes. We've made mistakes on this show. It's live. It's when you double down on it.
Speaking of mistakes, bye, Shep.
If you double down on it and continue with it, that's when it gets a little bit embarrassing. But hey, mistakes happen.
Yeah, but come on.
Goodbye.
Are you kidding me? I mean, you've been a major league broadcaster for your entire life. Your dad did it. Your grandfather did it. He broadcast Skip Carey. His dad did the Braves game when Maddox was there. His grandpa did Greg Maddox games when he was a Cub. Are you kidding me? Like that would be the first guy that would come across your mind. There's Chip. Oh wait, get a real first name. Anyway,
says the guy who refers to himself as Shep.
Hey, it's better than
They call it-
Chip.
Everybody calls me Ruxin.
Or Scooter. 2021 Panini Noir basketball dropped today. Only $1,800 a box. 1 pack per box, 10 cards per pack. You're going to get 7 autographs or mem cards. So about a 400 card set. There are 2 cards that were missing, and all the cards are numbered to 99 or less. So, your black stock, you're going to have your shoe cards. So pretty exciting stuff. And then we have 2021 Panini Chronicles Draft Picks Collegiate Football. That's a mouthful. $300 a box, 6 packs per box, 8 cards per pack, 3 autographs, a mem card, 12 optic chrome. It's a 400 card set with 16, as Chronicles can do, 16 different sets. Yeehaw.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of crap shoved in a little box. And then we also had 21 Panini Mosaic Draft Picks Football via the Panini website. It was an exclusive within the last week and a half. It was a Dutch auction, and I think the lowest price point I heard they went for was around $300. And it's 2 packs per box, 15 cards per pack. You're going to get 2 autographs, 6 Mosaic parallels, 2 silvers. It's a 100 card base set. So pretty much, just more collegiate stuff coming out. It's the first time they've done a collegiate Mosaic product, and you see boxes going around the $400 price point, $500 price point currently. So if you're a collegiate football fan, there you go. Make sure you check out Ryan Cracknell's articles on Beckett.com/news for more details on all these new releases. What's brewing next week's releases: 21 Topps Diamond Icons Baseball, 21 Topps Museum Baseball. I don't think both of those get released next week. 2021 Upper Deck Extended Series Hockey. Now, Steph, is that new?
Yeah, they've done kind of like a update series in a few years past. Not recently, but that is a new release for this year.
All right. 21 Panini Luminance Football also comes out next week. We were supposed to have complete sets this week, but it got pushed back to mid to late July. And Goodwin Champions got pushed again till the end of the month. It will be end of July. And for your chat or hobby talk section part of the show. Now, guys, let us know. We skipped covering a lot of the releases there in major detail. Something we were thinking about going forward in season 4. So if you like it, let us know. If you don't like it, let us know. We're flexible. We just kind of want to try it out and see how it goes because there's just so much information there. And then we like to, talk about hot topics or things going on in the hobby. I see I want to ask you guys this question. I see it in the chat here. Patel Parrot 12 says Lawrence will be a bust. Do you think Trevor Lawrence will be a bust?
Probably.
That's it? Just probably.
Well, I mean, I can't disagree with him. And as he put it earlier today in work chat, he has bad hair too. So
but why do you think he would be a bust? What leads to you? Because he's on the Jaguars?
Jaguars mostly, yeah. I mean, it's like a wide receiver getting drafted out of Alabama. Okay, sure, they had a great college career, but what happened afterwards?
Julio Jones is pretty good.
I said running back.
Oh, okay. Mark Ingram was pretty good.
One.
Derrick Henry's decent.
So I think when you start to talk about a bust, I don't think he's an outright bust. However, when you start to talk about him on a level of Andrew Luck and Peyton Manning and you're talking about him so highly rated, I think, will he achieve that status relative to the talking heads and how high that they've put him? I mean, he could have a really good career, right? I mean, Eli Manning, for instance, had a really good career even if you take away the Super Bowls, he was a highly productive player, but his name just kind of pushed him higher because of that Manning lore, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think Trevor Lawrence's draft status and all of the hype surrounding him, it's going to be really hard for him to hit that ceiling and that mantle. But if he hits 80% of it, 70% of it, I suppose he's a bust relative to the hype. But I think he'll have a really good career.
Yeah, I think though, if you listen to some of the people that have covered the draft for a long time, Mel Kiper being one of them, he put him in the class with Elway, Manning, Luck, and not anybody else.
Yeah.
And if you look at what those guys did, had Luck not been injured, what would the trajectory of his career been? But when Manning went to the Colts, they were the Jaguars of the NFL at that time. They could do no right by their draft picks and everything. And I just think there's something different about this kid when you watch him play and what he did at Clemson coming as a freshman. And there's these guys every so often show up and they are a big time difference maker. I think time will tell. I don't think Urban Meyer is the right coach, but we will see what happens there. And I think out of all the guys in this class, he's the most bust proof because I don't think Mac Jones, Trey Lance, Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, all those guys there's something, their bust ability is a higher level than I think Trevor Lawrence. So,
well, right now it almost looks like he's been anointed to a top 10 quarterback of all time. Right. Yeah. I mean, he's being discussed as that's his ceiling. But if the kid ends up retiring, 15 years from now and 20 years from now, the narrative is he was a top 30 quarterback of all time. I've argued till I'm blue in the face that I think Nolan Ryan is one of the most overrated pitchers of all time because I don't think he's a top 3 to 5 pitcher where that narrative often sits. I think he's a top 25 pitcher. So Nolan Ryan is, in my opinion, overrated relative to the popular opinion thereof. And I think Trevor Lawrence might be a bust in the sense that I don't think he's going to be a top 10 quarterback of all time. But I think if we did a redraft, when everybody's career is all said and done, the number one pick, say, is, Rodgers, Brady, Manning, Montana, Breeze, potentially Mahomes, right? I think Lawrence is drafted in the top 32 when all is said and done. Just not in the top 3.
Yeah, we'll see. So we have this great thing. We're going to start now with listeners live. We wanted to announce we're looking for 1 to 2 minute videos of some great polls you might have had, some great mail days, or even questions you have from our viewers on YouTube and our listeners on the pod. So if you do have those, you can always hit us up and email them to aboutthecards pod@gmail.com. Reach out to us on
Twitter, Instagram. We have ways to download and or share that.
All those different ways. Hit us up and let us know what you have, because we'd like to bring your lovely faces and voices to the show.
But just one other caveat: keep it clean, the best you can. Bring the passion, bring the love, but just keep it clean. Because although we do drop some language once in a while or innuendos, we try our best to try to keep the show as clean as possible more often than not. It's usually Steph around the hour 55-minute mark as he's approaching midnight over there in the central time zone. That once in a while the tongue gets a little loose, but
and so 15 years as at Sports Collector. Let's see here.
I think you broke up just
a hair.
Like 3 gates.
So we've said all along that we really want this to be a collaborative show with the listeners, and I know a lot of you have supported us and offered us so much content that we've, as Steph likes to say, misappropriated for the show. Usually with permission. We like to ask if we see something on one of your timelines, we like to kind of bring that to you and give credit where it's due.
Sure.
But it'd be kind of nice to have maybe a live segment once in a while with a question or an awesome poll or whatever's on your mind. So just
hey guys, nice show last week. I wanted to show off my latest.
I'm back.
Yeah. Are you back this time?
I think so. 15
You
years.
just went for like the Jordan headline. I'm back.
Sport Collectors at Sports Collector on Twitter. Sports Collectors Daily launched 15 years ago today. By today's standards, it was a mess. Maybe it's still easy to remember, as it was just before the 2006 National last time the show was on the West Coast. Thanks so much for reading, Rich. So, and he put a shout out to the old logo they used to have. So, congratulations to Sports Collectors Daily. 15. That's a long time, man. We're celebrating 3, and they're 5 times that. That's awesome.
They're celebrating 15. We're celebrating 3, and my 5th anniversary is next week.
There you go. 5's a big one. Our buddy Bailey Joe Cards, I tweeted this out. I literally pulled a Justin Herbert shield, 1 of 1 out of Obsidian tonight for someone. So sorry, no photo until tomorrow. Just needed to tell you guys that. And then he tweeted out the next day, here it is, Justin Herbert, 1 of 1 NFL shield patch from Obsidian that they pulled last night. It was a pretty card. Not an autograph, but patch card. And so we all know that Herbert's been the quarterback from last year's class that everybody's been all over because he had such a great year with the Chargers. And I want to give a shout out to our boy Herman pulled a Mike Trout auto out of Stadium Club for someone. I think it was numbered out of 5.
10?
Well done,
5 or
man.
10. Yeah.
Maybe it was 5. I'll pull it up here in a second.
Yeah. That was pretty awesome.
Speaking of quarterbacks from last year's draft class, I wonder whatever happened to that collector who dropped $100K on Tua stuff and is hoping that he's going to flip it for 5X. I bet he's sweating right now. Ooh.
Here's the photo.
Well, yeah, and what's funny is about that you talk about that like investing. There you go. There's the card. It's a good looking card.
Obsidian is ridiculous. It's one of the best looking cards out there. To me, it's phenomenal and best thing that ever came out of baseball chronicles.
Yeah. What's funny is I saw a video of a guy that said when his kid was born in 2003, he went out and he bought a case of Upper Deck Exquisite basketball. So it was 0304, and he spent $1,200 on it and put it in a safe. And then when his daughter was born, he went out and he bought an 0708 case and put that away in the safety deposit box. Yeah, it was a 5 of 5 Mike Trout Lone Star signatures.
Very nice.
And he just left him in there and realized recently what they're selling for, both the rookie year of LeBron James and Wade and Chris Bosh and all those guys, but the other one was Kevin Durant's rookie year. So
he kind of scored there.
That's just called luck.
Yeah. So what is his rate of return on those? I mean, what's he looking at?
Probably pretty good. I think like those cases are a couple 100,000. So yeah,
could be worse.
Yeah, could be worse.
I mean, could be worse. I mean, he could have drafted Marvin Bagley over Luka Doncic.
Or Johnny Flynn and Ricky Rubio over Steph.
Yeah, you had 2 shots at Steph Curry and still missed.
And it took 2 point guards.
Admittedly, Ricky Rubio wasn't a complete bust, so there's that.
No, he was a really good player. He's been a deep NBA player, but when you look at, we could talk to the blue face. I mean, 14 teams passed on Giannis. So, and how many teams passed on that the pedo Karl Malone? Like a bunch.
No, I mean, I know that the local narrative, from time to time is that the Kings took what's the one dude they took over Kawhi Leonard that year, 7th overall.
Bismack Biyombo.
No, the white kid who could shoot really well.
Yeah, it was Jimmer Fredette.
Yeah, Fredette. There you go.
Yeah, but they drafted Biyombo and they traded him for free. Anyway, whatever.
But you look at it, people are like, well, if we had drafted Leonard there, and it's like, yeah, but you have to understand that when Kawhi Leonard came out of San Diego State, he wasn't supposed to be the Hall of Famer that we now see, because he would not have fallen to 16th. It's like he went to a system.
Trey Burke over Giannis.
Yeah, but Giannis was a tall, lanky kid that profiled well, but he was very raw. And
Rich Frank, 23 teams passed on Trout. And he was the only kid at the MLB draft that year that was at the live draft the first year they had it on TV in 2009. Just sitting there by himself.
There's actually, since we're on the topic, there's if you have ESPN Insider, there's a great article. I don't know if it's Doolittle that wrote it or Schoenfeld, but it's the last star drafted by every major league team, and then the best player drafted since 1999. So it doesn't have to be a player that ended up playing for you per se. It could just be the last star. So some teams that have drafted great players that, got traded well before they ever made the majors. So therefore, certain players like Max Scherzer, for instance, would qualify, even though he didn't make his name in Arizona, for instance. But really good article on all the different teams. There was one team that did not have a star drafted at all.
Who was that?
The Mariners. They did say the idea behind a star, the definition that they use, which is extremely arbitrary, was could the player drafted be the best player on a world championship team? So although they mentioned Kyle Seager, he's like, maybe I'm not giving him enough credit, but for the Royals, for instance, they put Alex Gordon as the star. Even though you might say Hosmer and Moustakas, but during the World Series,
Luke Hochevar.
Yeah, Bubba Starling. And then they also had a quick little blurb at the bottom is the next potential guy in the system that might turn out to be that guy. So interesting read if you have ESPN Insider. Your guy was Witt. They mentioned like 2 or 3 other names, I think.
Was yours Robert Paulson?
No, for us it was Soderstrom. So they gave it to Chapman was the star. Chapman or Donaldson. That was Chicago. They said Chapman or Zito would have been the best since '99, depending on how you want to look at it. So interesting read.
Zito did get World Series, right?
Yeah, Cy Young.
Goodwin PC. Our buddy Chris Reidner's, who we met down at the last national, collecting history. Chris R shows off his stunning Goodwin Champions museum collection trading card sets. Big thanks to Upper Deck Sports, Pete Incaviglia, which is Chris Carlin, and Voice of the Collector, Robert Tran, for making this possible. Thanks to everyone in the hobby for all of the help and support. Yeah, so you had a nice article up on the Upper Deck blog about his Goodwin Champions collection, which was pretty awesome. So check that out. We'll have Steph drop the link in there. But we met Chris, 2019 National. Super duper nice guy. Very personable and loves trading cards. So, yeah.
And the Lions.
Yeah, in the Lions. Yeah, he went Barry Sanders that day. So, pretty neat. And hey, also, too, we want to give our best wishes out to Robert Tran as he's recovering. I know last Thursday, his co-host from their podcast or their video podcast or
Go
show,
GTS.
Go GTS Live. Ivan tweeted out that he was coming back from Arizona after having been in the hospital for a while and was headed home for recovery. And so our best wishes out to Rob, who was an inspiration for our show back in the day when he was one of the stars of Cardboard Connection Radio with Doug Cataldo and was it David Wright?
Russ Cohen.
So anyway, we're thinking about him. So
yeah, I reached out to him the other day, and he said he was doing much better. Reached out to him today, and I haven't heard back. So, best wishes to Rob. Like Tim said, without him, we probably aren't doing this show, at least not in this format. And again, Tim and I live 45 minutes from one another, and we really met and got to know each other much better in the chat room there, and before that was well before Twitter, and so he's been a big inspiration and obviously voice of the collector, big name and ambassador for the hobby for many years, and he needs to be for another few more decades. So
right. Yeah, I just probably he probably won't be at the National this year if he's still recovering. So because I know he and Ivan spent quite a bit of time on that main stage, entertaining folks throughout the day. Project 70, our buddy Ryan Cracknell tweets out only 3 Yankees today. I think this was from Monday.
No,
3 of the 4
yesterday because what team was number 4?
The A's. 3 of the 4 cards were Yankees, and then also the best part about it is that the Don Mattingly the Mickey Mantle had no picture, so you just had to guess what it was going to look like.
Thanks, Tops.
What a joke! Like I'm like honestly, don't care. This thing could burn. And I have one card. It's a Buster Posey. You all know that. I keep an ear out for Brad or another Posey, but dude, I'm sorry, it's trash. It's not good. It's all the same guys. Like Deion Sanders has, I don't know, umpteen cards now. My buddy Tommy Lasorda's got like 4. Like it's just so boring and
Yankee.
So
Yankee.
I mean, you've seen Jerry Manuel, Sparky Anderson, La Russa, Lasorda. All these manager cards or manager guys are getting cards, and a couple of them are on the bottom 10, and probably are going to sit there for a while. Do we have that?
Where's Paul Molitor? Come on, guys.
While we're on the topic, Mark Wilkins had sent out a question. Steph, do you have that handy? If not, I can pull it up.
Yeah.
The which?
He had a user question that was relevant to this particular topic while we're on it.
I believe so.
Yeah, I just didn't have time to throw it in the chat. It was something to the effect about when does it break your soul or something?
Yeah,
it was really well.
He says, at what point does Project 70 break you financially, emotionally, and spiritually?
First release.
When they announced that they were coming out with another crap show like this.
Like, I understand. The Project 20 was very successful and had its ups and downs, right? But this is just, it's like too much.
Mm-hmm.
Too much. And not of a good thing.
Okay. There have been a lot of good work. Blake Jameson, supporter of the show, been on the show twice. Alex Pardee, F. Lauren Taylor. There have been some really good artists that have been very consistent through both projects, or in like Pardee's case, Taylor's case, here in the second one. So there have been some really good artists, and there have been some really good cards. But if we just look at it as a whole and try to be as objective as possible, overall, it's been an absolute, and in my opinion, unmitigated disaster. I mean, Topps has done well, good for them. Some artists have done well and have probably become a little more mainstream, picked up some new customers. But overall, it's just been an absolute shit show.
To me, it's boring and repetitive when it's the same. It's just, I don't know. It doesn't excite me. There's nothing new. And you look at the cards, like whatever, like, okay, I'm moving on.
Yeah.
Amateur rookies. So at Leaf Cards tweets out the new era begins July 1. Leaf is excited to introduce its amateur rookie logo exclusively for amateur athletes, introducing the Leafs exclusive ARC amateur rookie card logo.
Now, I will give them props. ARC, as in a rookie card. Nice.
Or amateur rookie card, or American River College, where I starred in the football team.
I was about to say, we have a college that might want to have a conversation
Played
with
some
them.
football there back in the day. Go Beavers, the Fighting Beavers of American River.
So that's why I ran them over.
Terrible mascot. So this is interesting that they tweeted this out, because today there was an NCAA ruling This is from ESPN.com. Every NCAA athlete in the country will be able to make money from endorsements through a variety of other ventures starting Thursday. The NCAA Board of Directors decided Wednesday to officially suspend the organization's rule prohibiting athletes from selling the rights to their names, images, and likenesses. The new rule represents a major shift in the association's definition of amateurism, a shift that the NCAA leaders previously believed was an antithetical to the nature of college sports. The new rules will allow athletes to profit by monetizing social media accounts, signing autographs, teaching camps or lessons, starting their own businesses, and participating in advertising campaigns, among other potential ventures. Athletes will be allowed to sign with agents or other representatives to help them acquire endorsement deals. There's a lot there to unbox. But it's funny that Leaf sends this out that says, hey, on Thursday, on Thursday, July 1st, we're going to do this. And then that was announced yesterday?
To celebrate Bobby Bonilla Day.
And then today, the NCAA says, yeah, tomorrow, this is going to happen. So did Leaf know something? Does Leaf have something in the works? It's going to be very interesting.
Any college releases going forward?
And we're going to have in-season college releases?
Prism NCAA?
If you made a portfolio of Brian Gray, this would be right up his alley. And I give him credit. It's a nice looking logo. We'll see what comes of this, because I mean, he's done some good stuff over the past year, and
someone clicked that.
Good for him. I'm all about non-exclusivity. I'm all about, I don't like oligopolies, but I'm all about I'm all about competition. And I like this, especially if it pushes some of the other manufacturers to do better that do have exclusives.
It's very interesting to see what will happen and what limitations they have, but hopefully we'll be able to get an NCAA football game again, which is the best game ever, better than Madden. Come at me, because there's no other game better than the college football game that EA was putting out. It was way better than Madden every year, no doubt. But what happens?
Madden is like the I'll say the partner in a relationship that after they get comfortable, just stops trying. Right?
Get fat. Yeah.
They just stop. Right? Madden, it had probably like 2012 had an incredible franchise mode, and then they just did away with certain features, and then they just crap it out over and over and over again, and then no improvements and too many bugs, and they just don't care because you're gonna buy it because it says Madden.
And it's the only one.
Yeah.
One of my buddies brought up a question is, so say the school is a Nike school, right? But the athlete coming out of high school wants to be an Adidas athlete and signs with Adidas. What happens there? So I think that a lot of this stuff needs to be worked out, but it'll be interesting to see. But I have a feeling that, we're going to see some college, like in-season college football releases of product or autographs, and hey, good for the players. Now they can actually, when they're selling all those number 9 jerseys for whatever school that quarterback or that running back or receiver, whoever, can make that money, and profit off of what they're doing at the current time. So
Ed O'Bannon is vindicated after all of these years.
Yeah, I still mad at him though.
Imagine Tebow, and who's probably the greatest college football player of all time, or at least the most well known.
Maybe in the last 20 years, but he wasn't the great dude. There were so many other guys that just run in circles around him.
If you want to isolate it to the most marketable, he's got to be on the short list at the very least of most marketable college athletes of all time. And at the very least, if you want to isolate it just to the last, just this century, imagine the amount of money that he could have had off that Florida number 15 jerseys.
What about Reggie Bush? And even though he was getting paid, that man was a freak.
No,
on the field.
there are a lot of guys that could capitalize or would have capitalized tremendously off of their ability. And you hear the horror stories of some of these kids that can't even go out to the Taco Bell and get a bean burrito with their coach without that being seen as a violation of these gifting rules and stuff. And the NCAA as a governing body is just absolutely atrocious. And so good for them to finally get some of these athletes, even if you put some of the stuff in a trust to after they're done with the college days. And, if you get your degree or, if you put stipulations on it, at the very least, the NCAA and the college should not be able to unilaterally profit off of the likeness and brand of players like a Tebow, like a Johnny Manziel, which, he was at least uber popular in college, and so on and so forth. You can insert any name you want, but I mean, they should get something, again, even if it's put into an escrow account.
So poor shipping at Paul_car1. LOL, that's how you ship a card. Get the F out of here. So this is an awesome picture of Nolan Ryan rookie being shipped. And it was in a the best part was it was in a card saver.
That it was.
But it came loose. It looks like during shipment. And I don't know how bad if the card got dinged up too badly. But it's like when you see it here, it's coming up like it's in a way too big card saver. No penny sleeve. It's like, really?
Good thing it wasn't an important card or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only a Jerry Koosman rookie.
I mean, the Koosman rookie card is... I mean, it doesn't matter if this card was... I had mentioned customer service earlier, right? It doesn't matter if you spend $7 or $7,000 with the company. Every customer should be treated with the same level of respect until they do something that makes it to where within reason, right? I mean, I don't care if this card is a penny card or $1 million card. You can't treat it like this. I mean, what a grown ass person put that in that package and said, "Yeah, this is a good idea. This will be safe."
Is it though?
No,
yeah.
It just happens to be a very iconic card. I mean, when we were doing, I think in season 2, when we were doing our most iconic cards of each era, was that not the iconic one we chose for vintage, or did that one get edged out by the 52 mantle? The mantle got it, but this would have been card number 2, I believe.
It probably was the Mets team card for sure.
So I think we had the Wagner, the mantle, and then we had the 89 Upper Deck Griffey, and then the Trout, I believe, were the 4 eras.
Yep.
But yeah, I think this Nolan Ryan rookie card was second only to the mantle. That mantle kind of transcends the hobby. I mean, it's been featured in movies and all kinds of stuff. So, Christmas Chronicles, I think it was in the movie The Accountant with Ben Affleck. But again, it doesn't matter if this was just a penny card. If I gave you money for it, it deserves to be treated with more respect than what crap that is.
So shipping delays. Washington Post put out interesting couple tweets this last week about shipping delays and about the new Postmaster General, Mr. DeJoy. USPS's slowdown plan will delay the mail. Here's what it means for your zip code. So if you were to mail a card from Sacramento, California to Chicago, it would take 3 days now, or 2 days now. Currently, it will now take 5 days
from
3
Chicago.
Days. Currently, so this is what it is. So currently, if you live 280 miles or less from your destination, it should take you about 2 days to ship something with a stamp from my house to if you live within that 280 miles. If it's over 280 miles, it will take 3 days. So, okay, so to send cross country, it's only going to take 3 days. Well, going forward in the future, his plan is that if it's 139 miles away, it'll get there in 2 days. If it's 930 miles, it'll get there in 3 days. If it's 1907 miles, which is weird, it will get there in 4 days. And if it's over 1907 miles, it will take a full 5 days.
That's
poor example, but at least Dallas, which is right about here on Texas, is unaffected because essentially it's still 3 days from this plan. It's definitely interesting to the mileage markers. You'd think, okay, 250, 500, 1,000, 1,500. Not 1907, was it? You said?
Yeah, 1907.
There's probably a reason for that in their internal system. But if you ran a cost benefit analysis, which I'm sure they've done, and the associated cost, I mean, if it means getting more packages from one region to another, as opposed to going daily, it probably, I mean, imagine if your company bills out weekly versus bi-weekly, the amount of postage you would save and printing and envelopes and stuff, and just the associated cost of the savings from that loss of week, multiplied over the course of an entire year, you lose 26 weeks worth of all of that overhead. I get it. I mean, if I can send more stuff from New York to California, it's just going to take an extra couple of days for everybody to get that stuff. Okay, hey.
So send it out on Monday. Problem solved.
Yeah, it feels like olden times, though, right? Come on now. I mean,
come on. I mean, if you send something out on Monday and somebody back east is going to get it on Friday, is it really that big of a deal whether they get it on Wednesday or Friday?
Yeah, I understand, but it's like going backwards.
But if this helps keep the post office's doors open or the lights on, so to speak, I get it. I mean, it's his job at the end of the day to make this company.
Yeah, but there's other
profitable.
things that they could do. I think they need to go back and look at what some of the other costs they're spending money on. So
if this is one thing on a rollout of, Michael Scott, I got a 45-day plan, day one, this. I mean,
yeah, but he's been in the job quite a while, and you remember when they were taking all the automated sorters or whatever they did in all those different places. And
speaking of this automated sorters,
Tesla Jeanette tweeted out sorting the mail. Wanted to show one more picture for those who like to put your card in just an envelope. This happens all the time, and your card's going around. 20 wheels, understand if it's just a few dollars, but just an FYI, into the log jam. So, to be honest, I've sent now probably over 1,000 cards, if not more, via the plain white envelope, especially since the tracking has come out, and had zero damage issues with cards. And then also receiving cards. I haven't had any damaged cards coming my way. And understand that this stuff does happen here occasionally. I've had more cards lost or missing than I have had any damaged upon delivery. So
I've had one show up, and it's probably from one of these machines now. It's actually being able to see a picture. That Wave of the Future from Fleer Flare Showcase, where it actually had the water bubbles on the inside. It burst in transit, and I wouldn't bet that maybe it just got squeezed a little too hard here and popped it.
Yeah, but that was a very unique card.
Oh, sure. It's a one-off and should have been maybe better protected in shipping, or just said non-machinable. Not that I can follow that every time, but
you're going to have more cards damaged. And I'm not trying to create an argument that I love to have on Twitter, but you're going to have more cards damaged from people using tape near cardboard, any type of adhesive, whether it's Scotch tape or whether it's blue painter's tape. You're going to have more damage caused by the tape itself than you will from a machine like this. Tim, that box of top loaders you got from me literally was less than a 3-month supply. That tells you how many cards I buy off of eBay, and I will have more cards. I haven't had any cards damaged from. Yeah, a couple of I've had to reach out because they didn't show up. Luckily, they were inexpensive cards, but I haven't had any cards damaged from the post office. I've had them damaged because the tape hits the adhesive hits the cardboard and ruins the cardboard because it's now attached to the adhesive. This doesn't bother me. I mean, it's
the other problem
what it
is getting a 35-point card and like a 100-point top loader. That's fun too. That's fun too. It appears this comes from Josh _ Zapeta on Twitter. Someone turned down $2 million for this card. Now, can anybody guess real quick before Steph shows it what card it might have been? Did you see what card it was, Ben?
I did, so I would just be trying to make a sarcastic comment.
I didn't. I'm going to assume a Trout. Or, well, okay, let's go a little bit more recent. Tatis.
How about an 88 Topps Jeff Reardon?
Yeah, it was a Bowman Chrome. First Bowman Chrome Tatis. It was the gold one, right?
Yeah, the Superfractor.
The Superfractor. 9/5/10 auto. Great looking card. Before anybody knew who he was. Turned down $2 million.
Now, $2 million offer, at least in the state of California, is going to be about 1.2 net, which is still an incredible amount of money for a piece of cardboard. Obviously, we don't know the other variables, like how much did the guy pay to acquire it? Was it pack pulled?
You're going to report that?
So
PayPal it to me.
yeah. But let's say it was $2 million net. The amount of things you can do with that, I mean, how much more is that going to appreciate? Obviously, that person's probably thinking eventually it'll sell for $4 or $5 million, but over how many years? And then, of course, there's the great variable of the fact that it could depreciate. This bubble burst away. Yeah, I mean, all of a sudden, this $2 million card turns into, sub 100,000. It's possible. It's probable. Right now, you're selling in an overly, ridiculously overinflated era. It's a finite window. It's not going to. This right-sided trajectory is going to stop. It's already starting. I think we have a topic later in the show where we're going to kind of discuss this a little bit. Dude, give me $2 million today. I can make that work right now in savings, in an IRA, in my 401k. I can make it work in the stock market. I mean, I'd be interested to know whether or not that rumor is real or not.
Well, yeah, I mean, okay, let's cover the obvious and the one that you may have missed. Dude's popped his shoulder out twice this year alone.
Yeah.
Okay, so it affecting, speaking personally, since I'm well aware of what that does, affecting your strength, affecting your stability. The surgeries are usually at least 3 to 6 months downtime. Who's to say that he stays the same after all of that? Probably not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, $2 mill's real money, right? Like that's
Take it yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, it always goes back to that. My economic principle, my personal words to live by. I can make $1 work for me today, as opposed to the hopes of $2 tomorrow, which is not guaranteed. Right?
Well, think of how many of his cards that you could buy, just the rookie PSA 10s or autographs even. Trade the super for lesser numbers.
Yeah, go get the gold.
The only way that this is justifiable in defense, if we're going to play devil's advocate, is A, if this person has enough money, I don't want to say independently wealthy, but has enough money to where $2 million isn't a showstopper for that person. And then 2, if this is a PC forever. I mean, if Tatis is my guy and I'm a Padres fan and
somebody offers me $2 million for one of my George Brett cards, I would really think about it.
Let me ask you a question.
My wife found out, she would shoot me if I didn't do it. So
for what it's worth, as it's past 12 o'clock Eastern, minor athletes can now sign endorsement deals.
So let me ask you a question, Tim. You have $20 million in your portfolio in various divisible asset You have a job where you're comfortably making six figures. $2 million worth it to you? You don't need the money now. And again, it's a George Brett card.
Well, I mean,
so it's a one of one George Brett. It's not just one where, well, I can always go get another one if the market shifts. No, this is the only one made. It's probably the most desirable card of Tatis, right? You don't need the money.
Yeah, I mean, I understand it, but
I remember they asked, I don't remember if it's Chris Moneymaker or one of the guys that won the World Series of Poker when the pot was like $2.5-3 million. And they're like, are you going to retire? And he's like, no. He goes, I make really good money. I make comfortably mid six figures. He goes, after taxes, that's going to eat up some of it. He goes, it's like 3 years worth of salary for me. He goes, I'm going to go use some of it and have some fun with it. But no, I can't retire on it. $1 million isn't today what it used to be with the devaluation of the US dollar and the way that, cost of living is. I mean, it's a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. I would take it in a heartbeat, but we don't know the other variables.
Well, my big thing about it is the player himself. And even though how good Tatis is, right? How really good he is. His career's not done. Nope. So there are factors that could lead to him and that card being, like we said, losing value. eBayers are at it again. So at Bold Up Thor, which is a dope Twitter handle. It looks like I think he's a Charger collector because he was buying a Sean Marion card. I like to say no matter what. Well, he's buying a Sean Marion card and it says Bold Up.
Marion or Merriman?
Merriman, sorry, Sean Merriman. I'd like to say no matter why you win an auction at my store, I will always honor the price. Don't know why eBay allows this to happen. Seller canceled and relisted the item immediately. I won it at $10.50. I'm just helping people know who to avoid. So he bought a card, 3 out of 5, Sean Merriman card, green select auto, and he won it at $10.50, and it got canceled. And he said, why? He goes, way too low of a price.
Bro, I won the auction. Why did you relist it? Way too low of a price. Guy responds back, that's not a reason to cancel it and relist it. It's not a heavily sought after card. I have auctions and all the time for less that I'd like, but still honor that. And then the person replies back with the caps lock on caps lock, caps lock on caps lock. That's not a bro. STFU, you lucky I wasted this much time messaging you. So if you're looking for someone to block, it looks like ISWIS N-0 with 16 feedback is a person to block.
So real quick, again, this is why I don't offer auction. I don't do auctions in my store at all anymore. One is people not paying, and two is that like you're just hoping and willing to maybe it'll get to where you want it to be. Right? What you think you should get from the card. That's why I always price the card what I think I should do, and then I always accept. I always have best offers open. So if someone wins, maybe they think mine too high, they come with an offer I think's fair, I can accept
it. Okay, so you put an item at auction, and presumably it's a 7-day auction. This is literally the market worth for it.
Yeah.
Before we go on to whether or not the seller should honor it or not, because obviously that's a no-brainer. The market right now is worth $10. I don't care if it's a numbered out of 5. I don't care if it's a 1-on-1. It's an older player, and that's the market for that particular card. If you feel as the seller that it's worth $1 million, cool. eBay offers that neat little thing where you can place a buy it now with or without a best offer option.
Mm-hmm.
This guy got it in a fluid market, and he got it for fair market worth. Why? Because that's the market worth. Plain and simple. End of discussion. Thanks for attending my TED Talk, right? And then to make fun. When I saw that the feedback was 16, it's like, of course it is.
Yeah.
Of course it is. New eBay seller.
And then there was another guy here at Card Trader Joe 1. Had some auctions in tonight. Didn't even get 50% comps. Had a Devers out of 10 go for peanuts with single-digit views on most auctions going into the final hour. Again,
so maybe
you don't have to use auctions. You might not have titled it correctly so people could see it and it becomes visible to the buyers. Because if you have a bad title it's going to be hard for people to find if you spell their name incorrectly, if you don't put the set. There's a lot of things that you do that can end badly for you as far as putting it up. You could have crazy amount of shipping costs
like this.
$9 to ship all that base.
I've gotten so many good deals on Mark McGeary cards, spelled GU, not GW.
Or Mark Aguirre.
Yeah. The bottom line is this. Comps are fluid. They are not linear. And that's one of my biggest things that I've discussed with people. Most people, a good percentage of people, some people, depending on where you want to be, do not understand how to properly comp cards. Just because the last one sold for $10 does not, in fact, mean yours is worth $10. Understand the last one took one potential buyer out of the market. That might have been the last buyer for that particular card. In this case, with that Sean Merriman card, there might have been two buyers that bid it up to $10, and that's where it stopped because there wasn't a third one. And one of them was like, it's not worth a $10 bill. There might not be a third one. When you say the last one sold for X, well, yeah, but now the market has shrunk by one. And we're already talking about a niche market. And when you start to go from trading cards down to one sport, down to one team, down to one player, down to one release, down to one parallel, that market shrinks so drastically with every level that you take away. This guy's like, well, I didn't even get 50% of comps. Sorry, dude, comps are not linear. It's fluid. You got today's market worth, not yesterday's. Yesterday is in the past.
Well, and the person that he'd replied to give him some critiques. One, you spelled Prism wrong, so that might have helped you in your Trey Young sale attempt. But two, why are you putting a lot of 5 autos? Relics usually are sold alone.
Yeah, and then also too the fact that like you titled it year, player, and then what set it's from, and then the card number. Like you need to put like the year, the set, the number, and the player, because that's
in that order.
In that order, because that's the easiest way that it's found. So like go and look at other listings.
I'd be curious
that have closed.
Somebody asked that yesterday or today and asked about how do you list, and it's like it should be this, and it's really simple. 2021 Topps, you got your manufacturer at your year, your manufacturer, Topps Stadium Club, Mark McGuire number 276, or if you want to go number 276 Mark McGuire, either way is fine. If it's a parallel, red foil, Athletics, if there's enough room for the team name. You don't need any other information whatsoever. And by God, make sure you spell things correctly.
You don't even need to put Athletics in the title anymore, because if you actually select the team down below, it will populate for you. And when they put in like Mark McGuire Athletics cards, so that's what they search, your card will come up.
Yeah. There's no reason to have anything else. If you don't want the team name, that's fine. But yeah, if you're adding anything besides that, you're just complicating the search. Yeah. And odds are I do massive billing on a daily basis, and one of the things we work with is veterans. And the program that I use, the specialist that taught me how to use it, he goes, the more information you give the system, the more chance of a rejection on your billing. He goes, keep it simple. He goes, there's 50 spots. You only need 7. Do not give it 8, because all you're doing is complicating it. He goes, so it's the same basic theory here, right? The more information, I understand eBay's got new rules and whatnot now. Just give it the information it requires and nothing more, because you're just allowing for potential errors that might, prevent you from being in a, if I type in 2021 McGuire right now and you've misspelled his last name, your listing will not come up for me, an active and willing buyer who's PayPal ready.
So when people are listing Ryan McGuire cards X Montreal Expo. You probably should spell it Mark McGuire so it shows up in all of his feeds.
Oh, and that's another thing that just pisses me the hell off, man. I just type in names like 2021 Dennis Eckersley, so it catches everything that comes up. Man, I hate idiot eBay sellers. One time is sometimes you can make a mistake, but sometimes, man, there was one today that had like 50 listings of random Series 2 crap. They obviously listed a Dennis Eckersley and forgot to change the player name on all their subsequent listings. So now everything came up, which is convoluting and creating a mess for me. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen that. It's like, if you're going to sell, do your due diligence, make sure you double check everything. And at the end of the day, it's a PSA. You want to make sure that your listing is seen by as many eyes. I'm sorry, but your rando schmuck is not going to show up because now it's saying Dennis Eckersley.
Well, how about this one, for example? Wayne Nordhagen, Chicago White Sox, Adirondack game be used bat. Louisville slugger Chris Bando. I've reported this listing so many times to eBay saying not as advised, picture's incorrect. Please fix, and the guy has never updated it. He even has the letter of authenticity from Mears stating, hey, it's Chris Bando, Indians Athletics, 86 to 89, not 1980.
That's funny.
I could see Sal, but Wayne Nordhagen.
So, guys, we're heading out, finishing up the show tonight, a little quicker than normal. I think it's been kind of a light week I know, light topic week, but also too we cut part of the new releases out, so we're trying new stuff. But question of the week: do you prefer? Oh, is that Rich?
That's Rich's tattoo. I love it. Yes.
Look at that.
So if
Frank got a tattoo of Cardboard Connection radio logo, and then they gave him two boxes of Leaf product.
I think he said Leaf.
Yeah. Oh, and I had said, basically I said pictures are doesn't happen, and oh boy.
I don't know what we'll have to do for it.
Well, so yeah, Rich, you want to even up the other side with the About the Cards logo? We will give you goatee clippings of all three of us.
Yeah.
Lab.
Speak for yourself.
So, guys, for the question of the week, do you prefer an eBay auction or buy it now when you're making a purchase?
I buy a lot, so I always prefer buy it now because I know my cost. And obviously there's a lot of times that you get that adrenaline going and that pissing match of me versus you, and you could tend to overpay. I remember a short print of Ricky Henderson from a couple of years ago from Flagship, and my dad's like, "Oh, your birthday's coming up. Is there anything you want?" I'm like, "Yeah, Series 2 just dropped, and there's these short prints or super short prints, I think it was." And I said the Henderson's going to sell for like $50 to $75 most likely, and he's like, "I'll buy you one." And he bid on a couple, and he got outbid, and he's like, "Is there something wrong with this other one that's selling for like $50? Because the other two are like at 58 and 60." And I'm like, "No. Those ones got bid up and somebody else came to market with a buy it now, which is cheaper than that." I said, buy the one for 50. And sometimes you just get into that, I've got to win this because I'm not going to let you win this. I prefer buy it now because I like the safety of knowing what my hard cost is going to be. Yeah, auctions, you can get a deal, but you just never know.
So two different answers. One, I love buy it now for like a complete team set or a complete player set. But if I'm going for a particular player, I kind of like auctions just because, I have so many for a couple of players that they have it listed as buy it now for $20, $30, $50, $180. But if you guys were to toss it up at auction, I'd be the only bidder and get it for $10. Maybe one other person for an LSU player collector would put in a bid, and to come to somebody that actually wants it out of your place. Yeah, it's not your $180. You have it listed as buy it now. However, you'd move product.
Yeah. I'm a huge buy now because I know I got the card and I don't have to wait for it unless it's something that, where it's the only one that's popped up in a while and it's at an auction, and then I'll watch it, and I don't usually bid till after it gets down to like 9 hours, 8 hours, something like that. And then I'll put in what I'm willing to spend, and then I forget about it. And if I win, I win. And if I don't, I don't. I don't like doing auctions. I also don't like I said, I don't like hosting auctions online. Just too many unpaid auctions, and too many, like you take too big of certain cards, you can take too big of a chance on and lose money compared to what the market is, because it didn't, for whatever reason. By now, it gives that person, the buyer, instant gratification. And sometimes if someone's shopping, because I've been the same way, and they're in a mood and they're hunting down certain cards and they have money to spend, they want to spend it right now and know they're getting the card. So that's always why I put best offer, and I never put any limits on my best offer. I want to see what someone's willing to offer, and if it's stupid and low, whatever, I'll come back and counter it. I don't get mad because it's like, okay, well, maybe they're just trying to sneak by and get a great deal. I'll come back with what I think is a fair offer, and they can decline to accept it, whatever. But I would say more than not, I get competitive offers, and we make things happen. Sometimes there's cards there aren't a true. There isn't another one out there, so you put a price on it, you see what happens, and like I listed a black and white parallel of Fernando Tatis Jr. from Stadium Club. I put it for like $75, right? Crazy number for a black and white parallel. Guy offered me $30, and I came back and I said, "Hey, 40." And he comes back, he said 38. It's a deal.
Yeah,
I mean. I look at the cost of what it cost me to get the card was $0.25, and I sold it for $38. Plus, he paid $4 to have it shipped. Okay.
Well, you showed your Cabrian Hayes gold minted. I mean, the first two McGuires that came to market on eBay was, I think, 76 and 65 or something like that. Buy it now, and I knew both were higher than what I would have assumed the market would have been. I pegged that at a probably $36 to $45 card, somewhere in there, right? And I ended up winning the next one at auction for $34. So auctions are a good way to start setting a market for cards that are fresh to market. New releases. We don't know what the market is yet. Yeah, there's pros and cons. If you're out there buying older stuff, not new stuff off the line, obviously buy it nows are cost protected. You know exactly what you're willing to pay for it, and it's either a price you're comfortable with or not. But at least you know what your hard cost is going to be up front. Whereas if you get into an auction, and the other problem too is if you start bidding on an auction, I know a lot of people don't like snipers, but you start bidding on an auction with 6 days left and another one comes to market cheaper than what you've got, you're kind of stuck. And so there's that as well.
Yep. Hey, real quick shout out. The Phoenix Suns made the NBA Finals tonight, beating the Clippers 4-2. CP3 dropped 41 on the Clip joint tonight to make it to their first finals since 1993.
I hope the Hawks can pull it together. I'd like to see
that playoff series is the reason, that entire playoff year is the reason I became a Spurs fan. My hatred for Charles Barkley.
That's awesome. Guys, any final thoughts before we head out tonight?
Did forget to show this off earlier. Did some recent SPX hockey. And I got
you've been so hot on the hockey lately, bud.
Patrick Waugh.
My mind was blown when I found out that his name wasn't Patrick Roy.
Well, you'll have to ask Rich about that at some point.
No,
there's a color.
I remember playing hockey back in whatever it was, late 90s or something. I'm like, oh yeah, Patrick Roy's really good. And I was on the playground. They're like, it's Patrick Waugh. And I'm like, this is why we as Americans do not like hockey, because it looks this way and it's pronounced that way.
So you just got to pay attention. But look at these. Shadowbox. Gorgeous card. And then Ange tried a thing of Absolute Baseball, and in that it's his Topps Living Week. Dylan Carlson from last year.
That's awesome. Yeah,
So
that's a good one to hit.
Be a minor leaguer in ARC.
But, so I picked up a red 84 insert of Garrett Hampson from his rookie year, 7 of 10, which was his original jersey number when he came up before he switched to 1. Because Matt Holliday came back to the Rockies and wore 7.
I love that guy.
And then a first off the line optic rated rookie,
nice.
green parallel, 6 of 7 came today. So I was very excited to add these 2 very low numbered cards to my PC.
Some of the best looking cards. Donruss optic still needs to be combined with Donruss base, but some of those parallels some of the colors are just gorgeous.
That'd be kind of cool.
Oh, here we go. Black Box Hobby says the request for future question of the week: top 5 non-rookie cards from each decade. Write that down. That's a good idea. We could run with that. I'm writing that down. All right.
Yeah, definitely a future question, because we're gonna have to do a little, like 6 minutes before the show starts, do a little research.
Maybe get someone you want.
Yeah, that's actually a good segue into final thought from me. One of them, I actually had a couple, but if you know anybody that you'd like to see on the show, once a Cub, Matt Major brought Nick Wasika into our lives and said, hey, you need to have this guy on the show. So if you know anybody you would like to come on the show, let's see if we can get them scheduled. If you have any topics that you'd like to see us discuss, whether it's in the form of a question of the week or something like Black Box Hobby brought up, where maybe it'll be more of a recurring over the course of a couple of weeks. Let us know. We definitely like to, make this show more your show as well going into season 4.
Yeah, we do have a couple guests coming up next week. We have Ryan Nolan. He's going to talk about spotting fake cards, card shows, and vintage and pre-war cards. So we'll be able to have him on and have some fun there. He's got
breakout cards on YouTube.
Yeah, breakout cards. He has a YouTube channel. So there's that. And then
the week after that, I have a coworker who wanted to come on. But Canadian, unfortunately.
Yep.
But a long-time Magic player, long-time CCG player, but also collects on the side some regular sports. But in that we're rolling into that time, he's going into his first national. So he wanted to give his thoughts and opinions on what it's like to go into the national as a first-time person. Maybe we can give him some advice, Shep.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, guys, remember, and gals, we're live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific.
10 Central.
On YouTube. Make sure to subscribe and review our show on all platforms. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram about the Cards Podcast. Follow Ben at Our Trading Cards. Follow Steph at JunkoX Twins. You can always follow me at Big Shep 79. Please share your hobby stories, great pulls. Keep sending your questions our way and keep collecting. We'll see you all next week.